When you're investing in Nigerian real estate, I know what you're thinking about. Location, market trends, build quality, right? But what if I told you there's a silent project killer that so many investors, even experienced ones, completely overlook? Well, today we're opening up the environmental compliance playbook. And trust me, this is the stuff that can either make or break your entire investment. So let's just think about that for a second. When you think risk, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it finding enough buyers? Or maybe it's the wild swings in material costs? Or could it be something else? Something that's kind of hiding in plain sight? Look, we all worry about market volatility. That's a given. But the thing that can really bring a project to a grinding catastrophic halt is a full-blown regulatory shutdown. Imagine this, your construction site completely sealed off by an environmental agency. That's a disaster that can be way more expensive and damaging than any temporary dip in the market. So, who exactly is this powerful gatekeeper we're talking about? To even begin to navigate this landscape, you absolutely have to understand the one player who really holds all the keys to your project's future. Let me introduce you to the Environmental Protection Board. Now, here's the interesting part. This isn't just one single office somewhere. Nope. These are government bodies that operate at the federal, state, and local levels. Their job is to regulate everything from waste and drainage to noise and sanitation. Basically, when it comes to your project's environmental footprint, they are the final authority. And you do not want to ignore their rules, because the price you'll pay is steep. We're talking about heavy fines that can gut your budget, project delays that can send your timeline into a tailspin, and yes, in the worst-case scenario, your entire site gets sealed off. And beyond all the money you'll lose, there's the long-term damage to your reputation. That's a stain that's hard to wash off. Now, I need you to understand, this is not a theoretical risk. This is real. Especially in major hubs like Lagos and Abuja, enforcement isn't just active, it's getting smarter. These agencies are using data to track projects, which makes it a whole lot harder to just fly under the radar. In this new environment, compliance isn't just a good idea, it's about survival. Okay, so how do you actually get this right from the start? It all comes down to your pre-construction blueprint. Seriously, the work you put in before a single shovel even touches the ground is what will set you up for a smooth project. It really boils down to 3 key steps. First, you have to understand the rules. Not just the general rules, but the specific laws that apply to your project and your location. Second, you have to assess your impact. This usually means doing a formal environmental impact assessment, or EIA, to spot potential problems ahead of time. And third, you secure your permits. And let me say this again because it's so important. Get official approval before you break ground. So here's the big mindset shift you need to make. Environmental compliance isn't some annoying extra expense you can try to avoid. It is a core project cost, just like cement and steel. You have to budget for the permit fees, the proper waste management, the erosion control, all of it right from day one. Do that, and you'll save yourself an absolute fortune in penalties and delays down the road. Okay, so you've got your permits, you've gotten the green light, you're done, right? Well, not so fast. Getting the approval is really just the beginning. Once construction kicks off, the real day-to-day work of on-site compliance begins. This is all about active, hands-on management. It means making sure waste is being handled correctly, that dust and noise are under control, that you're preventing erosion, and here's a big one. It means holding your contractors accountable. Because you have to remember, if they break the rules on your site, you, the investor, are the one who's ultimately on the hook. So, what happens when the inspectors show up? And believe me, they will. Sometimes completely unannounced. The key is just to be ready. You've got to have your permits, your waste disposal records, everything on hand. But your attitude is just as critical. Be cooperative, be transparent, be responsive. A little bit of professionalism can make a world of difference. All right, so far we've basically been talking about how to avoid getting into trouble. But the smartest investors I know, they take it a step further. So let's get into the proactive playbook. How to move beyond just checking boxes to actually creating long-term value. It's really a tale of two investors. The reactive investor sees all of this as just another cost. And what happens? They're always fighting fires, dealing with delays and penalties. But the proactive investor, they see compliance as an asset. They get that a well-managed, environmentally sound project doesn't just avoid trouble. It actually builds value and has way more appeal on the market. So what does this proactive strategy actually look like? It's really a mix of a few key things. It's about building in sustainability from the start, things like green spaces and energy efficiency. It's about engaging with the local community and keeping communication open. It's about keeping meticulous records of everything. And, and this is crucial, it's about getting expert support from lawyers and consultants who live and breathe this stuff.
And all of this brings us to our final and maybe most important shift in thinking. It's about learning to see this whole process not as some annoying hurdle you have to clear, but as a hallmark, a true sign of a high-quality, top-tier investment.
You know, there's a quote from our source material that just says it all perfectly. It reminds us that this isn't just about bureaucracy or paperwork. It's about safeguarding public health, building resilient cities, and contributing to sustainable development. When you start to think like that, you realize you're building something truly valuable.
And what do you get for all this effort? Well, it's a triple payoff, a total win-win-win. First, you get project security. You're protecting your investment from being shut down. Second, you actually enhance the asset's value in the long run. And third, you build an amazing reputation as a smart, responsible investor, which just opens up more doors for you in the future.
So, as we wrap this up, the question I want to leave you with is a simple one. For your next project, ask yourself, is it just going to be built? Or is it going to be built to last? Is it going to be just another building? Or is it going to be a secure, valuable asset that actually makes its community better? The choice and the strategy is all yours.